Okay, so Salesforce will hire no more software engineers in 2025. Salesforce will not be hiring any more software engineers in 2025 amid significant productivity boost from AI. Whoa, and that's the CEO that revealed that. Okay, so we are not adding any more software engineers next year because we have increased the productivity this year with Agentforce and with other AI technologies that we're using for engineering teams by more than 30%. So 30% productivity increase due to AI, to the point where our engineering velocity is incredible. So what do you think about this, Josh? Do you really think they improve the productivity by 30%, whatever this means?
I mean, it's tough to understand. I don't think he's being very specific, right? Because how do they measure productivity? If that's lines of code, I mean, for sure, AI can write a lot of code. So it's extremely hard to measure engineering teams' productivity. What's more important for the company is to build the right thing, right? You would not need so many engineers if you were building the right thing. The easiest way to need less engineers, right, is to make sure whatever you're building makes sense. But he's not talking about that. Do you think that's even feasible? Did AI increase your own productivity back then? You write code every day. Did that increase 30% your productivity?
As you mentioned, right? Productivity, I don't know. You can definitely ship a lot more code. You can ship as much code as you want because, again, AI as a large language model can just churn out as much code as you want. But productivity, as in, value in the software, value for the customers, I definitely doubt that. And as you see, they don't really measure. Like, there's no measurement unit here, right? It's one of those magic numbers like we made up. It's like, oh, we increased productivity by 30%. What do you mean? Like, how do you even measure that? And how do you know that the stuff they shipped makes sense? And they talk about this agent, and I think the NVIDIA CEO said the same about, how IT will be replaced by independent AI agents. Okay, now let's go to the second part. So, and then we'll have less support engineers next year because we have an agentic layer. Wow, that's something they're making up a lot of new terms. We'll have more salespeople next year. Okay, so maybe it's time I become a salesperson. I don't think I'm cut for that. But maybe you are, Josh. Because we really need to explain people the value that we can achieve with AI. So we'll probably add another 1,000 to 2,000 salespeople to sell Agentforce, which is doing all the engineering work. Do you think they're gonna, Salesforce is gonna want to hire engineers next year, being a software company, and only go for salespeople?
I mean, you cannot really know. You cannot really know what's behind it, how the balance sheet looks like, what are actually engineers doing. I think a good idea would be to look at people that are using Salesforce and understand, are they winning market share? Are they not? Which are the products that are actually doing fine? Which are the products that are not? And last time I checked, a lot of people were complaining about Salesforce. Right? Salesforce, it's very expensive. It has a lot of technical debt. I don't think that AI will solve that. If you look at, I think, was it Trustpilot, where people review companies, and they have about 1 point something. I don't think they get to 2 out of 5 as a company.
Wow.
And a lot of people were complaining about the complexity of Salesforce, about the price point as well, and about the fact that there are better solutions out there, right? That it's been built for enterprises. I guess there's a lot of stuff they have there. There's a lot of legacy code. Probably their problems would be solved by actually hiring more engineers and simplifying the product. That's what it feels from what I read about the company reviews. Now, you have to understand CEOs, right? Everybody's talking about AI. Investors are buying AI, so why not just jump on the wagon and talk about AI like everyone does? If you're a smart investor, if you'd be investing in Salesforce, you'd actually look at, is this actually true? Do they really have an engineering problem or not? And if the product is not good enough, you have an engineering problem. You can hire 1,000 salespeople to push the same technical debt, crappy product to them. It won't matter. But I don't know exactly how things are inside Salesforce.
The sleazy car salesman, I think it's going to be the sleazy Salesforce salesperson. So this came just after Zuckerberg said they are working on an AI to replace all the mid-level engineers at Meta. And so there's kind of a trend here of CEOs coming out and saying how much of the engineers they will replace or how much productivity they have in engineering because they replace developers. So if I were in the market right now as a mid-level engineer, do you have any tip for me to basically not think about changing careers, or think I will be completely obsolete a year, 2 years from now?
Again, I think you need to try to have very clear thinking in this situation because there's a lot of noise. And these people, they have a lot of money behind them. It seems like they know something you don't. You're just an engineer. They are the CEOs. They're very close to the tech. Actually, I think you'd be amazed. Probably they're not very close to the tech. They spend most of the time in meetings with investors. But I would definitely check the company. It's like with people. Don't look at what people say, look at what they do. So I would definitely try to use your engineering mind to check the company, check the reviews. Let me double check with you. I'm on Trustpilot and I see 500 reviews, 1.4 out of 5. That's pretty bad. That's bad. So if the product is bad and they are firing engineers and they are using AI to fix it, the product will probably only get worse. And then they will have more salespeople. Now, a good product usually sells by itself. You don't need a lot of salespeople. You don't need to push the product to the market because the market needs it, right? And that's what we know about good products. Nobody. So going back to what they say, if I would be an engineer, I would take this with a pinch of salt, and I would look at what's behind this statement. It's very important that you don't let these things get into your head. The big problem here is that this kind of news, Zuckerberg saying this, Salesforce saying this, they trigger the deepest insecurities you have, that you're not good enough, that some algorithm will replace you, and that you have no future. And you have to keep a clear thinking and stay away from that. That's number one. Number two, they are losing market share. Go check their competitors. Who are they losing to? Go and work for those people.
So going a bit deeper, we see here that they're trying to sell Agentforce, right? That's the one thing at Salesforce right now. And this is the only thing that matters today, right? AI. By the way, when I was an engineering manager, we had a team that was a mixed team of developers and Salesforce developers that were doing kind of low-code automations in the Salesforce platform. We were servicing around 150 salespeople using the platform. And I think the bill was huge, by the way. I mean, people think AWS bills are big. Salesforce are a whole different level. I think for the licenses we're using, it was around 3 to 5 million. And we're talking about mid-sized company, right? 3 to 5 million a year only for the license. Okay, so our reviewer reported mixed results, finding that experienced Salesforce professionals who provided clear and detailed instruction could find use in it, in this Agentforce. While more entry-level people might make poor choice and accumulate technical debt from following the agent instruction. So what does this tell us?
I mean, product is very complex and AI can't seem to figure it out either. And it's just confusing people. Because in the end, like the people that are experienced, they don't need the agent. So ideally, it should help the mid-level engineers that are getting onboarded on this. It seems like companies not doing very well. And they are contracting, they'll have to get rid of people. And the easiest thing to say is because AI increased our productivity, and to sell it as a positive when actually it's a negative. They are losing market share. Probably they are losing market share because this market of CRM, what Salesforce is selling, is there are many new players, smaller players that are offering maybe more flexibility, more tailored solutions, who knows. Right? I'm not an expert in the CRM market, but the reality is they are losing out ground, and it's better to paint it as an increase of efficiency. It's like you saying, my company told me they need me less because I can do the same thing I was doing in 4 days rather than 5, and I wanted more time off. When actually they're cutting your time because you're not delivering.
Yeah, so as you see here, in 2023, the same CEO said they were letting go of 7,000 people, that's 10%, and it was because they overhired, right? This is as our revenue accelerated through the pandemic. We had too many people leading to this economic downturn we're facing, and I take responsibility for that. I think this is actually the root cause of the layoffs in software development today. It has very little to do with AI, and it has more to do with the financials of the companies and the overhiring phase. What are your thoughts on this?
This is probably true. They overhired. I believe a lot of these corporates, they had people doing jobs that made no sense. And when the times are tough, then companies are being judged in the end by what they bring to the market. It feels like it's more of a miscalculation of the management, over hiring, and now kind of adjusting to the realities of the market. Again, whenever a company is losing market share, other company will be winning it. So probably thinking to work for those companies, as I mentioned. That's what I'll be looking at. CRM market, it's only going up, right? It's only growing, and it will keep going. There are companies out there, like all companies, they still don't have a CRM. But they are probably not choosing Salesforce. So the question is, who are they choosing, and work for them? See if they are hiring.
Like, to wrap this up, as a software engineer today, even if you are employed, you probably feel very anxious and scared about your future because it feels like we are at the border of being obsolete. That's the main idea here with the layoffs. Can you summarize really quickly, if you were an engineer in the market right now, how would you manage this anxiety?
Again, I think you have to go back to first principles, and you have to think about it this way. Can my company ship the value that they are shipping without me? Can they do it if Claude or ChatGPT or Devin would replace me? And the answer is no. The answer is by far no. I haven't seen yet a big company built on top of AI agents. I don't think we are even close to that. And even so, if you keep thinking, you realize the big problem we have these days is there's just too much noise everywhere. There's all this news, there's all these things in your feed. When you think about it, this is not AI, it's an LLM. It doesn't have a mental model of what a business is. So how can it build something for a user? It can predict the next token, cool, and you have these autonomous agents that can go into cycles very fast. But a human can do much more than that. That's number one. And number two, really, companies can say whatever, but you have to look at what they are paying for. So the question is, are there people in the market getting hired right now, software engineers? Are there software engineers getting offers right now that are even better than last year? And I can tell you the answer is yes. The people, it's true that there are not so many jobs like we used to have back in the pandemic, but the offers right now are higher. The jobs, the salaries have been adjusting for inflation. So as soon as people are willing to pay, don't look at what they say, look at what they pay for. And companies that are serious, that want to, not Salesforce in this case, maybe not Meta, but there are a ton of companies out there that are hiring. I think 200K openings for software engineers only in the US.
Yeah, so you mentioned Devin. People always compare this, $500 or $500 subscription to Devin with the $250,000 yearly software engineer. So do you think, is that something that would worry you?
It's understandable that people get scared when you do these end-to-end comparisons. Now, you have to, those are nice comparisons, but you need to really look at the reality of things. Has Devin built a successful software product yet, end-to-end, without human guidance? Okay, not really. And if the answer is not, can they actually, if you pair them up with a human, can they actually get rid of some developers or something? And I think it's true, there were developers out there. Just, back in the days, I was working at a software company and we had one developer just configuring virtual machines. I think those kind of jobs, they didn't make sense in the first place. So there will be a set of jobs that will get automated, maybe very repetitive tasks. But those are things that you could actually automate with scripts. You didn't necessarily need AI.
Yeah,
right?
If I'm a developer, either working for Salesforce or Meta, and I see my CEO kind of saying this, it would be very hard for me to be motivated. I really feel like the people I'm trying to add value to and work together with are working hard to replace me. I would feel very disconnected. It feels like they're just rooting to get rid of me because I'm this expensive software engineer. How would you manage that?
Just leave. Just find a different job where people actually believe in you. So you don't have to work for these people.
What if living is not an option?
Living is always an option. Living it's always, then plan your leave in 6 months. Start interviewing right now. Start looking at your gaps. Take ownership. Don't forget this paternalistic thing where your company has to approve you or your company has to take care of you. I can't imagine the atmosphere, the vibe inside those companies, right? But maybe it's time for you to look at someone else. Don't hate them. Don't blame them. It's just business. They do what they have to do. They say what they think they have to say. Just let the market decide. And for you, maybe it's time to check other opportunities.
Should I apply as a salesperson at Salesforce? I mean, they have openings, right?
I mean, the most important thing for a salesperson is that you believe in the product you're selling. So if you look at the reviews and they're not hiring any more engineers to fix it, it's going to be a tough one.
To all the developers watching us, check out the links in the comment. We have a technical assessment that you can do to figure out exactly where your skills are, and a free training where you learn exactly how to be in this market with the layoffs and AI and how to actually make it, just like many of our mentees are making it every day. With that being said, me and Raush will see you in the next one.